Hey folks, Real Honesty with John Ritlin. I'm John Ritlin. This is Rapid Fire episode 46. Quick reshoot because I was talking a little more in depth with a new friend of mine on YouTube and Twitter at Belena Tweets. Really cool person to talk to. Check out her channel, check out her tweet. She's awesome. We've had some discussions, and I'm not going to give too many details because she can tell you her opinions, better than I can. But we've had some talks about how WWE needs to include more talents that represent the LGBT community. Lesbian, gay, bi, trans, that kind of stuff. People who are great athletes but can be great spokespeople because that's who they are. And by the way, I just want to say that if you don't support the LGBT community because of whatever reason, if it's religious reasons, I don't get it. Whatever the reasons are, guys, they were born that way. Would you just take it easy? Take it from somebody that used to be racist and homophobic and used to hate people like that. And I'm not saying racist and, it's the same thing, but the whole point is, homophobic, I used to not understand it. Took a friend of mine coming out to me, and, being that he thought I was the only one he could trust. And something broke, and I realized I needed to change my way of thinking. So I changed that. I've told the story before, so I'm not going to tell the whole thing. But the whole point is, WWE needs to do that kind of stuff. So a quick shout out to her for being such a great spokesperson for that. And again, really cool person. But yeah, WWE does need to do that. They need to include, more talents like that. If they're talented enough and athletic enough, it doesn't matter what their lifestyle is if they have a lifestyle that fits into that community. Now, yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that people should just be brought in just because they have that lifestyle and are qualified for it. But like Darren Young, I wish Darren Young had gotten a better chance, honestly. I mean, he was kind of on borrowed time anyway because of a couple injuries he suffered. And I wish him nothing but the best in whatever he does, whether it's Hollywood, more wrestling, or anything. I wish him the best, honestly. Really took a lot of guts to come out as gay. Good for him. And there were other gay wrestlers in the past. I mean, Pat Patterson, even though I think people knew for years, he came out cool. Good for him. Good for being who he is. Chris Kanyon from WCW. Sadly, it seemed like he felt like he was kind of shunned because he came out as gay. And that's really a shame, if that's the case. I mean, that was years ago, and unfortunately, he took his own life in, I want to say 2009, 2010. But I'm sure as of now, and not just in WWE, but all of wrestling, there are, lesbian, gay, bi, trans wrestlers. But in WWE, I can imagine a lot of people are probably hiding who they are, even though WWE tries to put out a whole thing where, we include everybody, we're a great, global community. Well, if they want to be perceived as a global community, they probably should do that. They should expand their horizons to include that and not just exclude people because of their lifestyle. Make sure they're qualified athletes, of course. It's an athletic line of work, a tough line of work, and only the best of the best should make it. And the people that are really driven, even if they aren't the best, even if they don't have the best body, that they are driven and then they can succeed. If they have the passion for it, great. I just hope that happens. So I just wanted to do a quick thing about that because that's going to transition to a story about James Ellsworth. I wish James Ellsworth nothing but the best in his future endeavors. That's not a WWE line. I literally wish that. I hope that James Ellsworth succeeds, whether he sticks to wrestling or he does other stuff, whatever he does. But apparently, and the reason that I brought that whole thing up about the LGBT community is Vince McMahon had a rumored idea, so, take it with a grain of salt, but apparently there was an idea for James Ellsworth and Charlotte at Mania, for James Ellsworth to announce on TV that he was going to that he was transitioning into being a woman, and therefore qualified him to challenge Charlotte for the women's championship at Mania. I just want to let everybody let that sink in there for a second. Guys, come on, no. If this is true, even if it's just rumors, let's just take that idea as gospel. If Vince McMahon came up with that idea, and I wouldn't be surprised if he did that, that's just a complete mockery of women's wrestling, a complete mockery of anybody that wants to transition to being, from a man to a woman or woman to a man, and you can feel that way however you want. They want to do it, they want to do it. I'm just saying, they want to do it, they want to do it. I've known a couple people that've had to do it. One guy that transitioned to being a woman, and good for him. I think he's living down in Florida now, or I think he finally transitioned, so she's living down in Florida. and one woman to transition into being a man, and they moved up to Canada, I want to say, like North Vancouver. I haven't talked to them for a couple of years, but last time I checked, they were okay. Whole point is, if they had gone through with that, that would have been making a complete mockery. Nobody that was of the LGBT community would have approved. I mean, what in the world? What in the world? I mean, why would you do that? You'd undo everything that the women's division has done. However people feel about Charlotte as being champion right now, personally, I'm not a fan of it. She's had the title enough. Not on SmackDown, of course, but she's had the title enough. She's going to break her father's record before she's 40 at this rate. Hell, she might break it before she's 36. And I'm talking like number of title reigns, by the way. I mean, obviously, her father was never a women's champion, but she'll break his recognized amount of 16 title reigns. Hell, she might even beat Cena. You know, Cena might not even get his 17th title reign before Charlotte gets her 17th title reign. Anyway, if they had gone through with this, it would have undone everything they'd done with the women's division and all the hard work that Emma, Paige, and various women did in NXT, and AJ Lee did. I mean, AJ Lee's gone. You know, Paige on the main roster, and all the various women. Sasha, Bayley, Becky Lynch, Asuka, Alicia Fox, who stuck around and made some real crap storylines. Mickie James, who's come back to the company recently, and just a host of other women. Naomi's even worked hard. My whole point is, you would have taken everything that these women have done. Natty, why do I always forget about Natty? Natty's one of my favorite wrestlers. Probably because they barely used her that much, except for a championship reign recently. You would undo every single thing that the women, that involved the women. And it would be ridiculous. Like, why in the world would you guys do that? Like, why? I mean, and look, I wouldn't fault Ellsworth. And you guys can feel however you want about Ellsworth being hired in the first place. I wasn't against it. It ran its course way before they released him, I will say that. And Ellsworth would have just been cast in a role, but it would have been a no-win situation. Charlotte would have been joked at. Ellsworth would have been joked at. The LGBT community would have been in an uproar. You would have had women in uproar. You would have had a lot of people in uproar. Yes, it is sports and entertainment. You're supposed to be entertained. This wouldn't have been entertainment. Even though Ellsworth tried his best and was well-liked in the locker room, this would have been a no-win situation and would have just done a lot of damage to any outreach programs they could do with the LGBT community. And I've already said that phrase so many times that it's starting to become ingrained into my head. But the whole point is that would have that's not the way to go about it. I'm not saying handle the stuff with kids' gloves, but doing that, no, that's not the way to go about it. That would have been just a terrible idea. So in that respect, it's a good idea that they got rid of Ellsworth. But I mean, I'm never for anybody losing their job, but good God, that at that point he might as well have just quit after that. Because where else are you going to go? I mean, and with the women's division, all that hard work of building that stuff back up, you would have blown it all up, and they would have had to start from scratch, even with all the talent. It just that's just mind blowing. That's the thing that makes my head just want to explode. I just can't believe that. But anyway, I want to talk about that. So again, thank you at Melena Tweets. Again, cool person, really chill person to talk to. I'm going to talk about a couple more things and then leave you guys to discuss this in the comments. Apparently, there is a Jennifer Hudson, singer and married to David Otunga, perennial kickoff show panelist, and Harvard-educated lawyer. Jennifer Hudson has a protective order issued against him for physical assault. So apparently that Harvard lawyer education didn't do Otunga a lot of damn good. If this is true, if it's true, I just want to say that because right now it's just hearsay. It's just stuff that's been reported in articles. If it's true, and it wasn't just a misunderstanding and not just a strife between two lovers, then if Jennifer Hudson is telling the truth, Otunga's going to lose his job. And that's what should happen with domestic abuse. Whether it's a man hating a man hating a woman, woman hating a woman, woman hating a man. Especially when it's, unless you're defending yourself, somebody's coming at you with a knife. My whole point is, though, Otunga doing this, he already doesn't have the best standing in the company anyway. I mean, even though he's still employed, he was really only ever hired because he was married to Jennifer Hudson. This just isn't a good look. If Otunga did this, he needs to go. It's a gots-to-go situation. Honestly, it's a gots-to-go situation. It's pretty ridiculous. So that's just really all I have to say about that. We'll come to that bridge when we cross it, but it's pretty ridiculous. Also, WWE apparently took their 2 India shows and put it to 1 because of low ticket sales. Stop charging the people of India so damn much. There's a lot of poverty going on in India. Yeah, you got to make your money, but be more reasonable with prices and everything. Hell, Impact got their India shows better and more right than WWE did. And a production company had to pay the people, paid people, various people in India to show up and everything in that little cement box that they did, and shoot a few shows. Those came across better than this is because of the high ticket prices. I know they got to make a lot of money and they got to pay a lot of talent, so that's pretty ridiculous. So anyway, and also Impact, speaking of Impact, they are trying to cut costs, and James Storm did not re-sign because they couldn't afford to pay him $150,000 to $200,000 a year. Good luck keeping guys like Mundo, Lashley, El Patron, EC3, and people like that if you can't even afford $150,000 a year. Cutting costs is one thing. That's pretty ridiculous. So I wish Impact nothing but the best, but if they're trying to have wrestlers take less money, you're only going to get scraps that can't get signed by Ring of Honor, New Japan, various other indies, or by NXT. That won't take the low money in NXT. So good luck to Impact, but cutting that much stuff and cutting people down like that, if you can't afford $150,000 a year for some talent, like one talent, that's not good. I don't expect people to earn $300,000 a year when they're going through cost cutting and everything, but that's pretty silly. So anyway, thank you guys for dealing with this reshoot. Not that you saw the original, but thank you guys so much. What do you guys think of what I talked about, especially the the idea of WWE bringing in more talents that are of the LGBT community, if they're qualified, of course. As long as they're qualified, if that lifestyle is who they are, how they were born, who cares? As long as they can go in the damn ring. As long as they have the passion for the business. Anyway, what do you think? Like, share, comment, subscribe. Twitter links in the description. It's been Real Honesty with John Ritlin. I am John Ritlin, and I will see you soon.